gentlemen, welcome back to BetMGM tonight. And straight away from me, the injury imp has laid waste to a position you know and love, and that is the wide receiver position this season. Garrett Wilson, Puka Nacua, and Emeka Buka are the latest victims of the injury imp's sinister wrath. Who among the following deep plays has the most upside this week for fantasy managers desperate to fill those empty voids? Here are your options. Sterling Shepard in a matchup against Detroit on Monday night. Jordan Whittington of the LA Rams on the road against another one of your former teams, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Josh Reynolds, who is a limited participant in practice, but maybe will be the WR1 for the Jets taking on Carolina, or someone else. By the way, has your phone been ringing off the hook? You ready to come out of retirement? There are a lot of teams that could use you.
It is a lot of teams that could use a receiver right now, but I was going to ask, who does Dallas play this week? I would have to go with whoever the Dallas Cowboys is playing this week. I would go check that team's lineup to see if they have any receivers available. But if not, I may have to go with Sterling Shepard. I think that him and Baker Mayfield have the chemistry. I think it's a chance that he can get in the end zone. Obviously, they're going to need somebody to step up. Last week, it was Tez Johnson getting in the end zone late for them, and I think that they're going to need somebody else to do the same this week.
Alan, I want to ask you a couple NFL questions, but I'm a day one fan. Brad brought up your time in Chicago, but I saw every single career touchdown at Penn State from 2011 to 2013, all 17 of them. My favorite, the one at the 1 yard line against Michigan, because as a Notre Dame fan, I hate Michigan. But I got to ask you what went down at Penn State, because I bet them to win it all. They had what, like double-digit starters back, 7 on the offensive side of the ball, 6 on the defensive side of the ball. We thought the 2 best coordinators in college football, and Kodal Nicki, and then they bring in Jim Leonhard. What went wrong at Penn State? And also, is that still a top job? Sell me or the next big head coach on coming to Penn State. Because I'm hearing people say that Cignetti could stay or should stay at Indiana. It's a better job. So I just want to get your thoughts on that as an alum.
First and foremost on this season, man, it's been a very tough year and a very weird year. Offensively, we just haven't been able to get it going. I think defensively we've been playing well, but when you hold a team like Oregon to 3 points, you're going to need to put up more than 3 yourself in the first half of a game to kind of give yourself a shot. You're at home. You have an opportunity to kind of, put your foot on their neck a little bit and make them have to come out swinging at home. And we just weren't able to do that. We got behind the 8 ball too much early on in games, but Penn State is the number one job on the market right now for coaches and players still. I think Penn State's resume speaks for itself. You see Bill O'Brien come in to Penn State, still have some success, still be able to get recruits with the sanctions. You see Coach James Franklin follow him up, and you see what he's been able to do after 12 seasons. And, he's had some very good competitive groups. Granted, we weren't able to win the big one, but right now, man, if you're any coach in college football, I think you should be eyeing the Penn State job, because it's no place like Happy Valley.
Totally agree. And, that's where I'd want to go. Unless I was a wide receiver. Then I'd go to Ohio State. Speaking of Ohio State, JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba is just unreal right now.
He's cooking. Man. He's on the heater right now.
Do you think Seattle's for real? Because I believed in Sam Darnold last year with Minnesota's offensive line and Darisaw and Kevin O'Connell as the play caller and Justin Jefferson, but he looks damn good. And JSN looks like one of the best receivers in the league. Do you think that team's for real, though?
I think that team's for real. After watching them last week and seeing Leonard Williams and just the overall chaos that they added up front on the defensive side of the ball, man, it made it very uncomfortable for that Jacksonville Jaguar team. And with them having a defensive-minded head coach and that defense being able to lead the way, obviously they added a little bit to their front seven this offseason, but also having a secondary who, there's no slouches there at all either. They have guys who are playing well in the secondary, and as long as Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jigba can continue their chemistry, and also, they have Cooper Kupp as well. A guy that can't be slept on, especially when you get to the red zone and third down and some situational play. I think they have a really good team that's poised to make a run, especially in the division that they're in.
Oh, the other team I wanted to ask you about quickly was the Buffalo Bills, man, because I know a lot of people that bet them to win the Super Bowl, and they're all freaking out right now. My only worry, other than the defensive side of the ball and getting stops, is Josh Allen, like, not having a clear-cut number one wide receiver. And I know it worked out last year, but do you think that that's overrated, or do you think that's maybe what Buffalo is missing?
I think that's what Buffalo's missing, because I think that when you see a lot of teams, as you just spoke to Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jingba, and even as you go across the board, whether that's the Detroit Lions with Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown, those guys who have their go-to guy in the passing game that can dictate coverage, and where the defense is going to have to play and honor each and every third down when you get into the red zone, being able to just have that threat, even if they're not always putting up crazy numbers, having that threat there and being able to peek out and seeing a matchup that you always like, I think that holds well for the quarterback. And I think that's what they're missing right now. They're trying to go a little bit too much by committee when it comes to down and distances and crucial times in the game. And I think that they need to try to figure out who is that guy going to be down the stretch.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're talking to Allen Robinson, 11-year NFL veteran wide receiver, grad of Penn State as well. Follow him on X, where he's always bringing it to you there, at Allen Robinson. Again, on X, at Allen Robinson. Allen, Rashee Rice returns from suspension for Kansas City this week. What does he bring to the table as a slot weapon for Patrick Mahomes? Yours truly wagered on him yesterday to score the anytime touchdown market against the Raiders at plus 140. What are the chances you think that cashes? Also, give me your general thoughts on Kansas City. Are the Chiefs all the way back?
I don't know if they're all the way back, but they're getting there. I think Rashee Rice is going to be a big boost for that group. Just how we spoke to Josh Allen, somewhat trying to put it together in the receiver room by committee. I think Kansas City has been doing the same thing early on in the season. Obviously, they have some young guys, and they've just been trying to, they have some also guys banged up as well. But then being able to get Rashee Rice back, I think he'll be their go-to guy. And again, I think he'll be able to help dictate coverage. Patrick Mahomes will be able to lean on him in some of those third downs and in the red zone. And I think now it opens it up a little bit more for some of those younger guys and for some of those smaller receivers like Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy. And I think you'll see some of those guys be able to be in a little bit more comfort zone now that Rashee Rice is back.
Allen, we'll get you out of here on this. You brought up the Dallas Cowboys. They're facing the Washington Commanders in a rivalry game this weekend. And Terry McLaurin got a limited practice today, so he may return to the field just in the nick of time, and his mouth has got to be absolutely watering at the prospects of coming up against that miserable, despicable, deplorable secondary of the Dallas Cowboys. But sticking with the Cowboys, George Pickens has been tearing up in his own right, but CeeDee Lamb is close to return. My question to you is, can Pickens continue to maintain a high level of success even with CD on the field? And I'm guessing that you're going to say, yeah, he can, because that Dallas D is that bad.
Definitely. And you just said it. I mean, they're going to have to. They're going to have to score 30 and 40 points a game to be able to give them a shot, week in and week out. Even with CeeDee Lamb coming back, I think something that has been very beneficial for them is him being out a little bit, so George Pickens and Dak have been able to create their own kind of rapport, and I think that will hold over. Some of the plays he's been able to make, you just can't take the ball out of his hand. He's been on a heater, and I think you have to continue to let him cook and bring CeeDee Lamb along. Obviously, he's their guy, but also having CeeDee Lamb and him being able to play in the slot a little bit more, I think still helps out George on the outside, and he'll be able to get some one-on-one still.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The one, the only, the terrific Allen Robinson played for 11 years in the NFL as a wide receiver. As of those of you who play fantasy football know and loved him very much during his heyday. And a man you got to follow on X, at Allen Robinson. Again, on X, at Allen Robinson. Allen, as always, we appreciate the time. And my man, I hope you're in game shape, because these wide receivers are falling down like crazy. You're going to get a call. I guarantee it.
Definitely will stay in shape for sure.
All right. Thanks, Allen. We
All right,
appreciate
fellas. Appreciate
you,
it.
man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next week.